have there been benefits, like personal, professional advantages that these two languages have brought you? And then what would you tell people who also have this desire to embark on studying French, Spanish, any other language? I can,
Yeah,
Ga,
yeah.
yeah.
Immense benefits, immense benefits. Let's say the first thing is it boosts your confidence. Anywhere you go, you tell people I speak French and Spanish. Wow, you speak French. It's a confidence booster. Let me just start with that. Okay. It has been of great importance in my life, especially professionally. Um, Okay, my name is Sandra Nadede Olite. I am currently pursuing a master's program in Hispanic Studies at Western Michigan University. I started this program for of 2023, and I'm expected to graduate in spring of 2025. So yeah, it's a 2-year program, and that's what I'm currently doing. But prior to that, I was a teacher, a French and Spanish teacher at Association International School back in Accra, Ghana. I was teaching from pre-K to grade 5, encouraging and enhancing foreign language learning in kids. So currently I'm doing my master's, and I hope to go back to the classroom when I'm done. Let's see what happens. So that's just a brief intro about myself.
Yeah, and we are very happy to have you on board with all your teaching experiences. That would be a very good thing, to share with us as well. So we'll move straight into our questions for today, and we will begin by asking Miss Elite. Oh, how do I address you on this show? Should I call you Miss Elite, or would you go with Sandra?
Sandra is fine because Miss Elite was years ago. Years ago, it was just a beauty pageant on campus, University of Ghana, and I was the first runner up. And since then, people have continued calling me Miss Elite. It's past. It's long
Miss
gone.
Elite, I mean, yeah. So anyway, so tell us about your personal language journey. How did it start for you?
Um. Okay. So I think being born in a multicultural household was the start of it for me because my mother is Nigerian, my father is Ghanaian. So my siblings and I were born in Nigeria, and then we moved to Ghana when I was about 6 years old. So hearing my mom speak her languages, hearing my dad speak his languages, and the fact that people couldn't they couldn't understand each other, or although they both spoke English, so English was the main language at home, but my dad had his language, my mom had her language, and they aside their own language. So my dad is Gan, my dad speaks Gan, he speaks Tree, he speaks Fante, and a little bit of Ewe. My mom is Igbo,
Oh,
she speaks Yoruba as well, and currently she speaks Gan too. So if you hear my mom talk, you think she's a full Gan woman. So
wow.
back in Nigeria, I think my siblings and I understood Yoruba because we lived in Lagos. Then we moved to Ghana, and kids, if you don't keep speaking the language with them,
Yeah.
they end up forgetting. So we forgot the Yoruba, and that brief period where we forgot Yoruba and we couldn't speak Ghana yet because we hadn't stayed too long was like, so which local language do you have? And back in primary school, that was like class 3 or so, your friends say, hey, you claim you're Nigerian. Okay, then speak the language. And it's like you are just there. You've forgotten. You can't really speak. So that
Mm,
was when I realized, no, language is really your identity. If you say you are from somewhere and you can't speak the language, it's questionable. So I realized the importance of language, the importance of knowing how to speak your language, learning other people's languages as well. Because the more languages I gathered, the more people I could communicate with. Because I started learning how to speak somewhere primary JHS thereabout. So then I could now interact with like the Ghana squad in school. And I learned how to speak tree in SHS. So I
Mm.
could now learn how to, or I could belong to that group as well. So I think that was when I realized, no, language, it's like anybody who knows the Marvel world is like you're gathering infinity stones, you're gathering, a new audience to communicate with. So that was
Yeah.
when I realized I really loved languages. And in JHS, we did French. I loved French. I was good with French. I was good at it. We went to SHS. I continued with the French. And when it was time to choose courses back in uni, I realized, no, I had a passion for languages. So I chose French. And interestingly, Spanish was added to it for me, not knowing it was a blessing in disguise.
This
So
guy,
yeah, I
yeah,
think my upbringing is what encouraged my language journey, I would say. Yeah.
interesting. Interesting. That sounds like an interesting family with a lot of languages in there. Wow. So how many languages do you speak personally?
Okay, so let's say English,
Mhm.
Ga, Chi. I wouldn't say fancy. I can understand fancy and I can try to speak,
Can
but
try.
and then let's say French and then Spanish, and I can understand Igbo and Yoruba and speak a little, not so good, but I can understand Igbo and Yoruba as well. So yeah.
Hey, then you everywhere, Ghana, Nigeria, yeah, that's great. That's
Exactly.
great. So you mentioned that your first desire was to learn French or to continue learning French, and then Spanish was added to it, and it was like a
Yeah.
blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
So the two languages, did you like were you happy that you studied these two languages, or you
Um, yeah, so back in Legon, you start your first year or level 100 with three courses. So it was
yeah,
French, Spanish, and then linguistics. So
you
I did
dropped
these three. I did these three in level 100, and I was a bit worried. I'm like, hey, which one am I actually going to drop? Because I like all three. So at the beginning, that was the conflict I was having. But then towards the end, I'm like, no, I want the languages. I don't want to learn about the language, morphology, syntax. No, give me the languages itself and let me go ahead with it. And I have never regretted my decision ever since because I graduated now having mastered two languages.
That's
Just
very true. I mean, I regret dropping French, by the way. When I hear people speak French, I become very envious of them.
right.
Yeah. So you talked about continuing and mastering two languages. Have there been benefits like personal, professional advantages that these two languages have brought you? And then what would you tell people who also have this desire to embark on studying French, Spanish, any other language? I can,
Yeah,
Ga,
yeah.
yeah,
Immense benefits, immense benefits. So let's say the first thing is it boosts your confidence. Anywhere you go, you tell people I speak French and Spanish. Wow, you speak French. It's a confidence booster. Let me just start with that. Okay. It has been of great importance in my life, especially professionally. So after I graduated from University of Ghana and after doing my national service, I went on to work with the Spain Ghana Chamber of Commerce,
wow.
where I used, of course, having Spanish is a plus, because I had to interact with lots of the Hispanics in Ghana, lots of the different companies that they had. My bosses were from Spain, so that was the first thing that if I did not have that language, I would not have gotten that job because the first thing. So I went on again to work in a hotel, and I was earning higher than my colleagues that were already in the system and already experienced just because I had
The
languages.
language.
Yeah, because I didn't have hotel experience at that time. I didn't know anything about hotels, but I went in because I had that land. And I'm sure their mindset was, oh, when we have international people coming around, she's already used to that.
The
Because
first
back in school, we had lectures from different countries
yeah,
coming over. So
yes.
you're already exposed to like
Yes.
the international world, so to say. So I'm pretty sure that was a plus. And in my CV, I included I speak this and that, and so this is what I'm bringing on board. So with that
Yes.
alone, I ended up earning more than them, which was a problem when they found out. But I mean, it's not my fault, you know. So that is what language does for you. Even if you enter the same door, you have a higher advantage than everybody else. Now, after that, I went on to teach these two languages at an international school. I was teaching both of them. So I was earning better than someone who is teaching only French
Only
or someone who
French.
is teaching only Spanish. So this is
Yes.
what it does for you. It opens doors. You are no matter what, no matter the area, no matter the sector you are in, once you have language, it's a step higher.
So no
That's
matter whether you are into medicine, you are into
Yeah,
catering,
because
or
even
into
here, exactly, not to cut you, but even here in the United States, hospitals, you have Hispanics make up quite a number of the population here in the United States. So whichever field you are in, they need people who are able to speak Spanish in order to interact with that demographic. So no matter the
yes,
field if you're in the hospital and you have someone from Mexico coming in who doesn't speak Spanish,
English.
who doesn't
Yes,
speak English, sorry,
yes,
what do you do? So we call whoever can interact with that person. So no matter the field, you need
yes.
that. And the language also helped me get the masters I'm currently doing, get funding, full funding, you know. So these are all the perks of having a second language. Yeah.
It's very true. Like language is important, whether you want to focus on it alone as we have done, but then you can also add it to whichever program you are studying or whichever field you
Exactly.
find yourself. You can be
Yeah.
in the movie industry, but still have like an additional language, whether international language or local language.
Hmm.
It breaks barriers. It gives you
Yeah.
that opportunity that somebody who doesn't have that language would
Yeah.
not have.
I
So
don't
yeah,
know. Yeah, I don't know if I can speak on. I have two other examples. So I have an uncle who is a lecturer at the University of Ghana. He's in the science field. I don't know, one of those sciences anyway. And he actually told me that because he couldn't speak French, he lost a big job opportunity or something. That is one. And I also have a friend back in Ghana who speaks about seven or nine Ghanaian languages alone. So this is a case where any office he goes to, any institution he goes to, the tribe he knows that the person is from goes ahead to interaction that, and you know Ghana, that thing it
no,
works.
it
If you
works.
go to
It works.
a company and the boss is a Ghan, you start speaking Ghan, they'll relate
Mm,
to you. The boss is
yes,
an Ewe, an Ashanti, whatever, it
yes.
bridges a certain gap. The person feels more confident
Yeah,
because like
yeah.
person.
Mhm.
And even if they get to know that you are not from their community, but you
Mm.
took the time to
You
learn
said,
their language,
and yeah,
it ends
it's
up making them feel like, no, it means you value me. So I
mm,
will in turn value you and
value
give you whatever it is that you need. So it doesn't
the
have to be a foreign language. It doesn't have to be French or Spanish. It can be the various Ghanaian languages you have in
exact,
there. Right there
exact.
in Ghana, it will open several doors for you.
Yeah, and that is why I find it very worrying when I see people. I know it's not part of what we plan to talk about. When I see people saying that they don't want their children to speak the local language, I'm like, really? Seriously?
Yeah.
It's very worrying and disturbing because even only being in Ghana alone, if you only speak English, I mean, they don't see you as one of them. They see you as a foreigner.
Yeah.
So I urge all my audience to please make a conscious effort to help your children speak your language. It's very important. Help
Yeah.
the children speak your language. And in addition, give them the environment to explore other languages as well. Okay, now let's move to the next topic, which is going to be on our year abroad experience. Um, Okay, now let's move to the next topic, which is going to be on our year abroad experience. Um, so for those who don't know what a year abroad is, I think I talked about this in the previous video. I'll talk about it here as well. So year abroad is basically um for people studying like a foreign language in the university. For example, University of Ghana. I know University of science and technology, they also have that thing. I know UCC and GIL and all that, they also have all those things. For people to go into the country of their target, the target language, the country of the target language that they are studying. And it gives them the opportunity to immerse themselves in the culture, the language, and all that. And I want to know, were you able to go for year abroad, or you didn't get that opportunity?
Okay, so I went for year abroad. I was given the scholarship to go for year abroad in Benin because when you take two languages, you end up having to choose one or the other. And in this case, I got the scholarship for French, which was in Benin, and so that was the one I went for. France was too expensive. Cuba too was very limited. Cuba took only 6 people, so it's like the best of the best. So unfortunately I couldn't get Cuba, and I couldn't afford to pay for Spain. I couldn't afford to pay for France. So Benin was fully funded, and that was where I went for. And people have the notion that if you go to Benin, maybe like it's not the same as getting the language from France. But
I was coming to
I
that. So tell
realized the only difference I would say maybe the accent. The only
me.
difference would be the accents. The French from France has a certain, it's just like American English and Ghanaian English. So that's it. And the accent, you can do Lafa. You can get it too if you want. So it ended up being the same, I would say. So anyway, yeah. So I went for a year abroad in Benin, and it's an amazing experience because when you learn the language in Ghana, it's more of a classroom experience. You're limited to the classroom. You're limited to only learning, hearing, speaking the language in the classroom. But when you go for this year abroad, you are fully immersed in it. So even if you want to buy bread, you have to speak.
Speak.
Even if you want to go here with the taxi or the transport system, you have to speak. So that gives you an outside the classroom experience. In the classroom is grammar, literature, but outside, street language, how you need to communicate in the language entirely. So that's the experience it gives you. So you end up coming back to Ghana, you know more expressions, you can interact with more people, and you understand the culture of the people who speak the language because you are exposed to them, exposed to what they do, how they do things, how they speak their own language.
Yes.
It's such an interesting thing that I feel like everyone should get to experience. So now I had year abroad experience just with French. So when I came back, it's like you have to work twice as hard in order to make up for your Spanish because you end up going back to the classroom with people who have gone for year abroad in
Yeah.
Spain, in Cuba. So it's a bigger challenge, but all the same, it's still beneficial. Yeah, abroad is still beneficial no matter the language you choose. Now, currently doing my master's in Spanish and not in French, it means that added advantage of here abroad, I did not get to experience it because I have still not been able to live or immerse myself in a Spanish speaking country. And so prior to coming here, I could say my French was better than my Spanish. And now I'm just blessed because the United States is filled with Hispanics, but it's still not the same because it's still an English speaking country. Although the US doesn't have an official language, we could say it's mainly English. So you don't have that experience. Or if I want to go somewhere, I still have to interact with the person in Spanish. And so you lose something. So I believe year abroad it's still beneficial. I think my colleagues who had gone for year abroad in Spanish speaking countries ended up having a better experience or being better, so to say, with the master's program. So yeah, abroad, very important, very good. You end up learning a lot. You end up learning how to speak, how to perfect your accent, how to interact everyday life, not just the classroom formal. You learn the informal as well, which is the informal is more used if you want
Yeah.
to live in a country. You need to
That's
learn
true.
the informal even more. So yeah,
But I'm really impressed with your profile. Even though you didn't go for staying year abroad, you still had the
yeah,
opportunity to do masters in Spanish.
yeah,
What, like, how did you do it? It's
yeah,
so amazing. And by the way, yeah, by the way, she won the best student in her school for Spanish. So it means that even though she didn't go for year abroad,
yeah,
it is becoming better. in the
Yeah.
language. So what techniques did you use to make yourself better in Spanish?
Hmm. Okay, so I think you using the languages, still using both, because even though it's French and Spanish, try as much as possible not to choose only one. I'm just
Mm,
using my experience. For someone who only studies Spanish, then it's one way. For someone who only studied French, it's one way. But if you did both, you need to utilize both to the best of your ability. So in every area or everywhere I went to, it's like I speak French and Spanish and English. So I am an added advantage when it comes to all of these three. So even the school I went to, it could have been, oh, we just want a French teacher, but I speak Spanish too, so add that one to it if you can.
yeah,
You get it. So
yeah,
that actually helped me when I was applying for here because you have to write a statement of purpose. You have to write like that long thing. So writing that you worked with the languages, you are teaching the languages, you have this experience with it. That helped. Now techniques to help me learn. I'm a bit lazy when it comes to, I admire people who listen to Spanish or French songs, watch French
some of us
movies.
went two songs,
I don't do any of those, unfortunately. And maybe I should start trying. Maybe I should. And you see, that's the disadvantage of not going for a year abroad in a Spanish speaking country because like when you get immersed with them, it piques your interest. You are now more interested in getting more
yeah,
things. So unfortunately, I haven't gotten into like telenovelas or music and all of that, but I take my academics very
very,
seriously. That is what I can say has helped me because right from the first day I got here. In this program, you are doing it with native speakers. You are in the same class with Spaniards. You're in the same class with Mexicans, with Colombians. So you cannot slack. You can't have the excuse of, oh, I'm Ghanaian. I don't speak Spanish as well as you. But you are in the program. You applied and you got in. There is no difference in teaching, nothing like that. You are known as I am coming to do a master's program. Whether I'm a native speaker or not, I qualify. So you have to put at the back of your mind that you are coming in to not necessarily to compete, but you are all on an equal scale, and you
mm,
are at a disadvantage. So you have to work twice as hard as
yeah.
these people. So I think that determination is what pushed me, and the disadvantage for them is sorry to say, but when it's your language, you relax, you're calm.
Yeah,
Imagine if we were studying English or something. It's your language, so you don't really feel the need to like, when you're given an assignment, oh, I
the
understand this, after
grammar
30
correct.
minutes,
I
you're
mean,
done. I spend hours on the paper I have to write. I spend hours perfecting it because it's not my language. There are people whose language it is who are already perfect at it. So how do I get like them and even better? So that drives me to do more, to work twice as hard, to, all of that. So I can say that that is what has pushed me. I don't joke with my academics. I don't joke with my schoolwork. So that is what has really helped me. Those are the techniques I can say I use, if that helps.
wow. Yeah, this very good. Like, so it means that you have to be determined. If you want to learn a new language, it
Yeah.
all starts with you. You have to be determined that and be focused that okay,
Mm-hmm.
this language is not spoken in my country, so I have to do my best to learn it. Whether you are an adult, because the amazing thing is that we studied Spanish after senior high school, you
Yeah,
understand?
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And like to go above anything like to do masters, people are doing
Mm-hmm.
PhD units and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's amazing.
It's
It's really
amazing,
amazing.
yeah. For a
Yeah.
language we learned in an English speaking country, in Ghana, in a classroom, to be
In a
able to
classroom.
qualify for a master's or a PhD
Yes,
program.
yes, yes. So it's really amazing. And I think that I'll use this opportunity to appreciate University of Ghana Spanish session. Shout out to you
Shout
people.
out
Shout
to
out.
them, shout out to them, shout out to them.
You did an amazing job on all the students that come through that session. Indeed, they work very hard. I can say the lecturers really work hard. And then they teach us, I don't want to mention it. because they would speak like you are a native speaker from day one. They would speak with you like you understand the language, so you don't have any other choice but learn how to speak. So yeah, shout out to them. And so I want to we are going to end the session here. Unfortunately, it's such a short session, and I want to use the opportunity to thank you so much, Miss Alexandra, for accepting to have this interview with me and to talk about your experiences and to let others know that to learn a language, it requires a lot of determination on your side. And also, don't learn a language like with fear. Come out with confidence. In fact, I think I should mention this that you will make mistakes along the way, and don't beat yourself because you made a mistake. Whenever you realize that you've made a mistake, just correct yourself and move on. Yes,
Right.
and then continue practicing and practicing and practicing. If you are in a country where they don't speak the language, get a group. I mean, fortunately, we have internet. You can connect with people on the internet to learn this language as well. And also, you can also register for our classes. Yes, here at Best Language Hub, you can take classes with us in Spanish, French, Akan, Ga, ever, just name it. Yeah. So register. I'll put the description, the link for the course registration in this video. I mean, beneath it, you can just register with us, and you can also send us an email to admin@lnlconsultancygroup.com, and then tell us what you want to learn and all that, and we'll give you all the assistance you need. Okay, so I'm going to end here. Thank you again for coming. It was a pleasure having you on this session. We would have to say goodbye to our audience. We'll bring you more just on language learning and child development. Watch out for that too. Okay, until then, it's a bye.